ask me to talk. It's that time. That's right. Welcome to Don't Ask Me to Talk. We are your podcast pals. I am Stacey Heller, and my co-host...
I'm Eric Ryder. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
We so appreciate the fact that you listen and you enjoy. We
hope you enjoy.
No, we know you enjoy.
Fake it till you make it, right?
What's not to enjoy? I mean, if you are looking for a break from the world at large, then this is it. And, you know, we always say that doesn't mean that you should put your head in the sand and not be paying attention to the world at large.
That's right.
It's just that there's 24 hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And chances are you're driving around and doing errands, or you're like hanging out and you need a break. And we are happy to be that break with you.
Well said.
Thank you. It's like
we've done a few of these episodes.
We've done a few of these episodes. Well, and it's so funny because we used to do far more prep in some ways. And now it's, you know, we have some parameters.
We're flying
that we follow.
By the seat of our pants.
We are. And honestly, like in airplane, I'm autopilot.
Fair enough.
But not in terms of engagement, just in terms of, I think it's really authentic that we have these conversations and, you know, going back and forth. And we really do love a tangent.
I like at the end of Airplane how Otto got an inflatable girlfriend.
Yes, and normally it's a blow-up girl. So it's nice that, well, it was again a blow-up girl.
Yes.
Darn it.
Yeah, and he was a blow-up guy. That was the joke.
Right.
Autopilot wasn't just like a control on the switchboard. It was an inflatable pilot.
Right.
He had the uniform and everything that inflated and flew the plane.
I think Autopilot has or had their own page on IMDb, maybe?
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole character.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I think he got credit in the movie, too.
For
I think it was
sure.
like introducing Otto.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good stuff. That was your movie last week, but I'm sure we will get into what we're watching.
Oh, yeah. I erased another cultural blind spot this week.
Look at you.
With some viewing over the weekend. Yeah.
All right. I'm excited to talk about that. I just want to give a shout out. Happy birthday, Will. It's my son's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, May 1st.
Mayday. Mayday.
Exactly. Mayday. I'm going into labor, which is kind of how it felt. Actually, was it? Yeah, a little bit. He came out blue, apparently.
Wow. Was he a Smurf?
No. No. I guess it was taking a minute. I don't really remember the situation because I was focused on, you know, like pushing. And but I guess he came out really blue and he had to go into NICU for a few hours, which honestly, a few hours is nothing compared to some of the stories that people tell. So really, I'm grateful. But it is one of the things that I will somehow manage to squeeze into, you know, if he chooses to get married, a wedding toast. You know, those random things that you bring up and it's the family joke that nobody gets and everyone else is like, Yeah.
Well, speaking of birth, I wanted to clarify from last week's episode where we talked about how our parents met. You implied that my mother was potentially pregnant with me before she was married. My mom texted me.
Am I in the doghouse with your mom?
No, I don't think so. But I did want to clarify because she clarified that I was born 15 months after my parents were married. So
there you go.
Yeah, she was not pregnant with me while taking those vows. But you know, no shade on anybody. I mean, my sister's an outright bastard, and that doesn't make her any less of a person. So.
Wow. Well, we know your mom listens. I'm hoping that your sister doesn't.
In the classical sense.
Yes. Wait, can a bastard be both a male and a female? Somehow I always associate it with just males.
I'm sure it can be a male and a female.
I don't know. You've got to look this up.
Okay. So is there a female term if there isn't?
I don't know.
I mean, if it's not unisex?
I don't know. I mean, but I feel like it's
primarily refers to a person born outside of wedlock an illegitimate child, and is now often used as an offensive insult. So, sorry to my sister.
That's what I'm saying. So now I'm out of the doghouse.
Like I said, I did not
in.
mean it in the offensive slang thing. That's the thing. I mean, there's so many words that that get, like layers of rudeness put on them. And then people like adapt and change, like the meaning or the acceptability of using that word. And I'm always thinking like, well, why can't we just say, hey, we've changed this to be a rude thing. Why can't we have it go back to not being a rude thing
The
anymore?
original.
Yeah.
Actually, so funny that you say that.
Rather than coming up with some whole new term that in 6 months is going to be the new offensive term.
Right. Well, and this actually coincides with our topic really nicely. As you know, or maybe you don't, every week we pick a topic off of the patent pending Wheel O Topics, and we're talking about things that are obsolete. And it feels like some words or their original meanings, right?
Yeah.
Are obsolete.
Right.
So no disrespect to your sister, and apologies, of course, to your mother. I was not trying to start a salacious family rumor. I know she took it in the spirit with
she did.
The conversation.
Good humor.
But I do love that she was listening, and then she also shared the correct pronunciation of the place where they met. Your mom and your dad met.
Yes, the Agape House.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and gave some meaning behind it.
Yes. It was basically a drop-in teen center that catered to spiritually minded people who opposed the war, wanted to make the world a peaceful place where everyone could be safe and free. She said, very idealistic, but it was so open and welcoming that all that attracted a local couple who ended up joining the leadership of the Jim Jones cult prior to moving on to Guyana. So, yeah.
Interesting. Isn't that always the way?
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Because there's always somebody that's going to poison the Kool-Aid.
It's awful.
Just like bastard. We can't have nice things. We can't have a standard definition of that because someone's always going to take that and twist it.
Right. Of course. I want you to know from last week, you also talked about the Memorial Day owl.
Yes. Who?
So, yes, that's funny. I was chatting with Pete at some point this past weekend, and something came up, and I said, have you ever heard about the Memorial Day owl?
And he said, who?
He did. And, I sort of had this running gag with him about I'm like, you've never heard about it. I can't believe you haven't heard about it. And then I had to share that it's actually a thing that you made up.
Right.
And explained because of the whole arbitrary nature of picking the Easter Bunny, et cetera, et cetera. Look, go back and listen to last week's episode, and then you'll have context. But now I feel like we need to campaign for the Memorial Day owl.
Sure. And let's not forget his good friend, the Arbor Day coyote.
Is it coyote or coyote?
Well, that's one of those debates, too, like pecan.
Tomato.
Right.
Caramel.
Yes. Let's call the whole thing off.
I love this for us. Okay.
And by the way, I never thought anybody said tomato.
My mother.
Well... Like I said, I never thought anyone said tomato till I went to the UK and I said, oh, that was a nice tomato or something like that. And it's some kid's like, tomato? What's a tomato?
Hey, tomato. They say tomato. You say tomato.
It was literally tomato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, and my mother...
Because potato, that's the next line in that song.
Yes.
Potato. No one says potato.
Nobody says potato.
Right. So I thought tomato was the same thing. It was just made up, like potato. But
so
literally, people say tomato.
My mother would correct me. And... it's like, no, there's not it's a how you say something.
Right.
I think she thinks it sounds better Classier, like Target or Roy
Right.
Roger. And so, or Velu Village.
I mean, that's a funny thing to correct somebody in the U.S. saying the U.S. pronunciation.
She's just trying to be bougie.
Yes, because that's definitely a British pronunciation of tomato.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the deal.
That's like Quayle.
Dan Quayle.
Yes, putting the E on potato and then scolding the child for spelling it correctly.
Right.
Yes.
A classic moment in political history.
Exactly. Yeah. This is that would have been your mom.
Yes.
There's an E on the end of tomato.
Well, the funny thing is she doesn't know how to spell anything. She always has to ask for how to spell things. And if you want to know more about my mother, go back and listen to my podcast, Stacy Connects. She's on that a lot. And Joan has some thoughts. And it explains so much.
She does have some thoughts. We should get her maybe to do a guest Dear Krabby.
We should.
Yeah, get a third opinion. We could be like a triad.
Oh, we should.
Yeah.
We'll have to when a listener
Or now time for a rebuttal.
because she definitely has some thoughts. And now that she has great-grandchildren, it's a whole different world.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, and it depends on whether she's had a scotch yet.
Well, sure. I mean, I think it depends for all of us whether we've had a scotch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is, what is it? It's drunk words, sober thoughts. It's like those situations where are you telling your truth or are you really just like stumbling over things?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, is alcohol a truth serum?
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on the person.
I guess it does.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, happy birthday, Will. All that to say.
Button
And
it up.
this week is also Star Wars Day.
May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Yes. So in advance, may the 4th be with you.
Oh, and by the way, I am loving the second season of Andor. Speaking of Star Wars.
Oh?
Yeah, it is very good. I binge rewatched the first season of Andor a couple weeks ago. And so it was just perfect timing to sync up with season 2, which the first 3 episodes were released last week and the second 3 episodes released this week. And oh man, it's getting juicy.
I just can't do sci-fi.
It's more
or fantasy.
Yeah.
I will say fantasy and sci-fi, I know they're not the same. They're just two genres that I don't know. I struggle. I really struggle. But I've heard amazing things about.
This is more about storytelling than it is about science fiction or fantasy.
Okay.
I'd say Andor is maybe the most rooted in reality of any Star Wars thing that there has been.
Okay.
So you might like it. You might give it a try. Did you like the original 3 movies, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
Okay, so this, I think, is probably the best Star Wars-related thing since then.
Okay.
I'd say we could have just done without every single other thing if we had just had Rogue One and Andor.
Okay.
And then everybody would be like, oh, my God.
Like flawless.
Yes, flawless.
Okay.
Perfection. Yeah.
Because it is, you're right. I do like a good story. And that is sort of genre-less. Like if it's a good story that's going on. Because it triumphs over what the genre is, ultimately. And I've heard great things about Andor. I just... As you know, I watch limited TV, and I have been watching White Collar. We're now on I think we're at the end of season 5, one more season to go. And I just got to say, that Matt Bomer, he is so cute. If you haven't been following along, that is my mother who introduced us to the show. It's the thing that she says every time she watches the show. So, as I said, it's what Pete and I do every time we watch the show.
I'm still trying to get through Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, so
I've got a season and a half left.
You were excited about where you left off last time.
Yes.
You said it was actually quite poignant.
It absolutely was, yeah. I mean, and still is. I mean, yeah, they spent the whole last season that I watched having a prison riot, basically. And then this season 6 is like the aftermath of that, where everybody's put them in maximum security, basically. Okay. And then they're putting people on trial for their role in the riot.
Okay. So, how long did the riot last?
13 episodes.
No, well, like in theory. Because this reminds me of the premise. There's a show out that some friends were raving about called The Pit with Noah Wiley of ER fame. And like the show 24, The Pit, I guess, is done over it's maybe 12 episodes or something, and it's done essentially in real time. So what happens during a 12-hour shift of an ER doc and, various things that are going on. And, my friends were saying how harrowing it is thinking about how long your day is and how many, in a way, lifetimes you have over the course of a day. So it sounds like Orange is the New Black did something similar where they spread out.
I'd say it was probably 2-3 days at most.
Got it.
But the thing I always wondered about 24 is they never show them go into the bathroom. And there's no way you make it through a full day.
There's no time for that.
Regardless of adrenaline, there's no way you make it through a full day.
But does that make good television?
No, I'm not saying it does, but if that is the premise, there's got to be at least 15 minutes of an episode where he's like, sweet relief.
You know what? I love this. And they didn't really eat anything. Like, there was no protein bars on the fly.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, if you really want to make it seem realistic, then it's got to be like, dude, walk with me while I go to the bathroom, and I'll catch you up on what's going on.
While I go to the bathroom.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, go with me, and like, here, we got to go. I got to go to the bathroom. Walk with me. I know you don't walk and go to the bathroom unless you're wearing an adult diaper.
There you go. Well, maybe.
Hey,
there you go.
Product placement.
Yes.
Well, I will say white collar.
Would that have been a good plot point? Depends.
I mean, maybe a good plot point.
I like my joke better.
Yeah, of course. Ha ha ha. I will say I noticed that white collar clearly was doing product placement with whatever car it was, because there were just these random things where they'd like, let's get into the car. And then, I'm turning on the radio and, they're showing the dashboard or, we're going fast in the car. And I'm like, unabashed product placement versus, like real making a choice about, hey, I'm having a Diet Coke or I'm doing whatever real life things versus the shameless panting and preening over the car. Anyway, okay. Well, since we're talking about things that we've watched, what's the thing that you checked off your cultural blind spot list?
Well, believe it or not, we're actually up to the point where we should take a quick break.
Oh, all right.
When we come back from that, let's talk about our cultural blind spots, if we made any progress on that.
Keep listening. We'll be right back with Don't Ask Me to Talk. Hey, I'm Stacey Heller. I'm one of your podcast pals, along with Eric Ryder from Don't Ask Me to Talk. Are you liking what you're listening to? Awesome. We would love if you would follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram as Don't Ask Me to Talk. We also are wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can follow us, subscribe, like, rate, whatever it is that you do. You can also email us. That's asking@don'taskmetotalk.com. And if you'd like, text or leave us a voicemail at 475-999-2726. Basically, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.
And we're back right here on Don't Ask Me to Talk. I'm Eric Ryder.
I'm Stacey Heller.
Yeah, thanks for continuing to join us.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what's the latest thing that you have checked off your cultural blind spot list.
Yes. Well, I finally watched The Social Network this last week. I had never seen it before.
A modern item, I would say, on the list.
Yeah, but it is one of those ones where I feel like everybody's like, "What? You haven't seen The Social Network?" Or, or they just talk about it like everybody has seen The Social Network. And of course, I was kind of aware of it. I'm aware of the story for folks that aren't aware of it, like like me, since I hadn't watched it previous. It is basically about the founding of Facebook. So it's about Mark Zuckerberg in college, and then the ensuing lawsuits as the company starts to take off, which sounds really boring. And really dry, but it was actually pretty entertaining and very well done. But boy, so there's certain things that kind of make you go, uh-oh, when you're watching like the credits, because Armie Hammer is in this movie before he got canceled for coming out as a cannibal, I believe.
So yes, and supposedly there's some weirdness about him, but there's also some exaggeration. I am not defending Armie Hammer, but I am saying be cautious of crazy, like, yes, that's absolutely the rumor that came out. And he's problematic. And it may not be the whole story. I don't know why I'm defending him. I'm really not. Anyway, so he's in it.
And Kevin Spacey is a producer on this movie. So, and then, of course, Zuckerberg himself is a controversial figure. Let's play nice and say that. So there's a lot of things about it. It's like, ooh, I don't know.
Well, and nobody in that story, you're all just.
Yeah, they could have called this A-holes on parade, and it would have been just as accurate as The Social Network. But it's Zuckerberg, brilliantly played by Jesse Eisenberg, by the way.
Yeah, you almost don't. I went through a period where I almost didn't like Jesse Eisenberg because
he was so good.
He was so good as Mark Zuckerberg, and you're like, ugh.
And to this day, I think people still confuse him for Zuckerberg on the street, which has got to be really tough for him. Yes.
Right. Instead of being, like, oh, aren't you,
you're that brilliant actor that did so well in this role.
Or if you're going to be associated with someone, you want to be associated with aren't you Prince Harry? Well, no, I'm not. I'm just the actor that played him. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and of course, Justin Timberlake also in it, playing Sean Parker, founder of Napster. Of course, Timberlake's had his issues. Yep. So it's like everybody, not everybody, but there are a good chunk of people associated with this movie. Kind of iffy by today's lens. But yeah, like I said, very well written, very well acted. Very well produced, and I won't say very well produced because of who was
why don't you dig a hole like I did with Armie Hammer?
But just a great movie, all in all, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. But what I didn't understand was the Winklevoss twins, played by Armie Hammer, who sued Zuckerberg for stealing their idea, which was a dating site for people with Harvard email addresses, because women would want to date and or sleep with
naturally
people that went to Harvard, which in the very broadest sense, Facebook would have been at that point, but only in the very broadest sense.
Right.
And I mean, they say it even in the movie. Essentially, he's just ripping off MySpace and Friendster,
right?
Which already exists. So I don't understand if there was to be lawsuits towards him. It probably should have come from MySpace or Friendster,
right?
Not some rando twins that claim he stole his idea.
They're like, Daddy,
Yes.
He stole our idea
Yes.
of a way that we can hook up with girls.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody in this movie is, gross people.
Really? And yes. Although it's funny because...
But if we can watch movies about serial killers and still enjoy it, then we can watch...
That's true. It's just good storytelling.
Yes, exactly.
Hopefully the serial killers aren't real, but sadly...
Right.
Yeah. Okay, did you watch anything else that was really good?
I wouldn't say it was really good, but I also checked off my list, and I don't think this necessarily qualifies as a cultural blind spot because at the time when it came out, I remember it being kind of panned and it didn't do well, but I've always wanted to see Return to Oz, which was in the 80s, they made a sequel to The Wizard of Oz called...
Risky.
Yeah, well, I always thought like, well, why don't they adapt the books like they did with, the Chronicles of Narnia or Lord of the Rings?
Sure.
Because, I mean, The Wizard of Oz, those books, the Oz books, were massive when they came out.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And The Wizard of Oz, there's really not even a bigger movie to this day. This is one of those ones where...
I mean, it's Harry Potter epic. There's a whole, there's a whole lore about it.
And it's public domain at this point, too, so it wouldn't even cost them a lot of money. So I decided to watch Return to Oz, which was Disney's attempt at making an Oz movie back in the 80s. And at the time, it was panned because it was too dark for children.
Which is so ironic.
Yeah, it's ironic because the original movie, was pretty dark too. I mean, with the flying monkeys and the Wicked Witch. I mean, the Wicked Witch, she, the actress that portrayed her, eventually went on Mr. Rogers out of makeup to explain to kids that.
Right.
I'm a real woman.
Right.
I was just playing dress up in this movie, so you can stop having nightmares about me, basically.
I think I've shared this before, that when I was in elementary school, somebody brought in their grandmother who played the Wicked Witch. And obviously, you see her as this person's grandmother, and she was telling the stories about how it worked when she melted and those kinds of things. But still, you get that into a kid's psyche, and it is forever burned. That and the flying monkeys, man.
Yeah. No, I had nightmares about the Wicked Witch when I was a child, so I could understand that. This may be, it's PG for a reason. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But there's a lot of stuff that just kind of didn't work, and I think one of the main problems is that they just went and tried to cram in stuff from a couple different books into this movie rather than just following the books sequentially. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of overstuffed, I think. And there's some pretty cool special effects and artistic design, but the whole idea is that they're trying to follow up The Wizard of Oz, but they said it before the original movie was. So, and also Dorothy is younger.
Okay.
So it's taking liberties with that. And then she meets these new characters, which in the books, she is meeting these new characters. Because I read a few of these as a kid, so I remember a lot of these characters. The thing is, they don't bring back the old characters in a meaningful way, which really, if you're going to just go willy-nilly with the story and which parts of the book you want to bring back, you should at least give a meaningful return to the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, all the buddies that she gets in the original The Wizard of Oz.
Sure.
But they just barely make cameo appearances, basically. And she's got these new friends, which is totally fine. But like I said, I just feel like it would have been better if they had taken some time for her to associate with her friends from the previous movie.
Okay, I have some questions.
Yeah.
One, from a practical standpoint, the fact that this is a bit of a prequel, given that Dorothy's younger
but it's a sequel.
I know, because it's Return to Oz,
yes.
But they have moments where she's younger.
Right. So that's more book accurate.
Okay.
Because Judy Garland was an older actress playing a younger...
Yes.
But in this movie, they cast Fairuza Balk, a very young Fairuza Balk, as Dorothy.
Okay.
And so that's more book accurate. And also the time period that she's in is more book accurate.
Okay.
It's like 1899, I think.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Now my next question is, so then have you seen Wicked?
I have not. Yeah.
So now you are going to have to see that.
I don't really have an interest in that. Because to me that's like fan fiction. And it's just like...
But if it's good storytelling, Eric...
But I'm also not a musical fan.
You could read the book, or you could listen to it on audio.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about it. I'm with you on, like, I don't mind a musical. I love a good musical. So I don't have a problem with that. The whole hype that is around the movie and that kind of thing, I'm just going to set that aside. I think it's an interesting bit of storytelling, and that it gives some context for some of the things that are there, and sort of fleshes out these characters in a compelling way. So I actually think from a storytelling standpoint, it's a really interesting idea. And yes, there's all the crazy musical parts and whatever. But I like having why is she so angry, or like, why is she green, like where did that even come from? And just different things, like how are the monkeys flying? I don't understand. So it gives some answers to oft asked questions.
I guess the thing that bothers me about it is that I've been so annoyed that they never actually took the time to adapt these books properly, that to suddenly build I feel like with Andor being a prequel to Rogue One, that's fantastic because it fleshes out that world. But if we didn't have The Empire Strikes Back, if we didn't have Return of the Jedi, and instead they chose to just do the prequel, I think I would be annoyed. No way. If I knew like the scripts existed for The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and they didn't make those movies. Instead, they just made a movie leading up to the beginning of A New Hope.
So I think
I would be frustrated.
I guess I haven't read all the books, and so do the books explain those very things?
They don't, but they continue the main characters' stories.
Right. So I guess since that story doesn't already exist, in the case of at least Wicked, it's like this person created some kind of origin story, like why this and why that.
Yeah.
Since really the story took off from a certain point on.
Right.
So I'm just making my case for it.
Well, I made my case against it.
Oh, great. Wait, speaking of The Wizard of Oz, you sent me a very funny thing this week.
Yes, yeah. And maybe we pause Dear Krabby so we could get into this.
Yeah, I think Dear Krabby can wait a hot sec, because this made me laugh out loud. So explain what it is.
But for folks that haven't been following along, that is our new advice columnist, where the two of us are combining our 100 years of experience in life, Voltron-like, to answer your queries. And we're not experts in any field, but we know a little something about
everything.
A lot of stuff. Yeah. And so, if you've got a question, if you're facing a dilemma in life, we'd love to give you our 2 cents. And that's
please.
What Dear Krabby is about. Yeah, we'd probably give you a full $1.50, really.
Yeah. at least 100 pennies, since it's over 100 years of experience.
So it's asking@don'taskmetotalk.com if you want to email us. And you can send us a voice message that way as well.
Totally.
Or you can call in or text us.
The number is 475-999-2726. You can leave a voicemail.
Yep.
You can, as Eric said, you can text. And we are happy. Need to know about what to do for an upcoming event, or you have a question with your kids, or you're not sure what to do about your noisy neighbor, or you don't know what to wear next week to something. We got you. We have got you.
Yeah, I can answer questions about guitar pedals too.
wow, now you know.
Like I said, we know a little bit about a lot of stuff. But anyway,
Okay.
so yeah, let's get back into the article that I sent you, because I just like looking through this, I was kind of like flabbergasted, but also not entirely surprised.
Yeah, and actually, it coincides again really beautifully with the show, the topic today, which is things that are going to be obsolete. We think might be obsolete, but these are the premise of this article is that things that people can't believe they had to explain to an adult because they didn't know what it was.
Yes.
So,
and one of these things ties back into Return to Oz, in that the Wizard of Oz is mentioned. So I'll say that. And let me just put a quick button on my thoughts on Return to Oz, because I don't think I finished saying what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Which was that another reason why I think this movie failed was because they didn't have any big stars in it. Piper Laurie was the biggest star in this movie. So that tells you something. And overall, I would say that it's enjoyable. But I'm just going to say that I didn't think it was on the level of the original MGM Wizard of Oz. It's a fun curiosity, but I think if they actually adapted these books sequentially in a Lord of the Rings style thing where they actually paid attention to the source material, maybe make some judicious edits, because there's some brutal stuff in these original books. You would have a far better movie. And I think they need to stop doing this stuff like the Wickeds of the world or the great and powerful Oz of the world, and just look at the source material. That's all I'll say. Okay, go ahead. Now, we're talking about this article that is, you want to explain it?
Yeah. So the title, so it's a BuzzFeed thing, and it's people are sharing their I can't believe I have to explain this to an adult moments. And so there is a series of scenarios that people are sharing. And there is just some ridiculous stuff that's going on. Like a simple one is that I had to tell someone that you have to boil potatoes before you mash them. Like that just...
I guess I can see if you've never had any experience cooking. But once you've made something, your first dish, that's pretty surprising.
Right. Yeah. But the one that share the one that actually is relating to what we're talking about was with Wizard of Oz.
And someone saying they used to work at a video store and people would return the Wizard of Oz saying, I wanted to rent the color version. And then the clerk would say, well, how long did you watch the movie for? Just the first few minutes. Which famously...
Hello.
The Wizard
if you're
of
one
Oz
of those people,
is in sepia for the first 20 minutes or so, and then she goes to Oz and it's all in color. It's a huge effect that's still to this day very striking when you watch it. She clearly knew nothing about the most famous movie of all time.
Which, I mean, some of these, to your point, okay, so you don't cook, so maybe you don't know. And then there was the example of the person who had to explain to a coworker about not cleaning ash off of the customer's forehead, that it was not in fact dirt, it was ashes from Ash Wednesday. Oh, you have something on your forehead. And, I get that. Not everybody knows what Ash Wednesday is.
Right.
So, that's fine. But I just think, some of the other ones, like the example of the bartender who served a pint to customers, but they were in two different glass shapes, and the customer complained. Did you see that one?
No, but this totally reminds me of when I was buying meatballs, and one package had 8 smaller meatballs, and one package had 6 bigger meatballs, and the guy ringing him up was like, "Whoa, are you sure these are the same price? Because this one has 8 meatballs." This only has 6. And it's like, well, the weight is exactly the same.
Right. Well, it was this like, so the person that submitted something said that, I bartended at a brewery. I served the 2 customers the 2 pints of beer, and the customer was like, "You expect me to believe that these are both pints? That's what we paid for." And so, he had to fill one with water and pour it into the other one. He's like, they didn't get the concept of volume.
Right.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Do you have some other ones that are...
I had to explain to my mom what a group chat was. She argued, but what if I need to say something to someone and it's personal? I explained every which way I could that she could still text them individually. Yet she kept insisting that she couldn't because they were in a group chat. She never understood the concept.
I mean, they're I'm trying to find, there was another one that I thought was really funny. I was working for a publishing firm and a fax was coming in, and I was standing behind the office manager waiting for it to complete when my eyes idly went to her computer screen. She had the accounting and mailing program up and was manually typing addresses from the accounting program to the mailing one.
Oh,
uh-huh.
Yeah.
I asked why she didn't just copy and paste, and she just blankly stared at me. She had been the office manager of the publishing firm for over 10 years and didn't know about copy paste.
Wow.
Hundreds of boxes of books were going out
God.
every day, and she had typed every single address by hand until that moment.
I bet she was a fast typer, though.
Yes. And then the one about the greeting card.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh my gosh, I had to explain how a greeting card worked. Like how a piece of paper could be folded in half to create an inside and an outside.
What I love is when the people are incredulous. Like once a lady brought a DVD back because the player wasn't reading it. She called me an idiot for suggesting that she had to place the shiny part of the disc face down instead of the picture side.
Okay, this last one. When my sister and I were watching the live action The Lion King, she made a comment wondering how many trainers it took to get all the different animals to stay in their places and perform on cue. I stared at her in shock as I explained to her that all the animals were CGI and that there would never be a way to get all those different animals in one place without it being an absolute disaster. She had to Google it before believing me. Mind you, my sister is 47.
Jeez. How do you make it through life that far? So, by the way, if you've got any of these, I can't believe I had to explain this to an adult moment, please send it to us because these are great.
Oh, I mean, they're so... And I'm sure parents have these. I mean, I have coworkers, I've mentioned before, I work a couple nights at a restaurant, and we talked about this with the music thing.
Yeah, she didn't know who Bob Dylan was.
Right. And, so these references that are made, and they just have no idea.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but also things are changing that quickly. Like, I think about my mom, who's 85, and how when she was born, she didn't have a TV, and, you listened to the radio, and then all of a sudden she had a TV, and then how phones have changed and computers and the things that have happened in her 85 years from when she was old enough to be aware. I mean, when you're a baby, you're not like, where's my TV? But being young enough to really be aware of what was out there and how things have changed so much.
And we had no idea what things were going to become obsolete.
No. Right.
But do we know what things are going to become obsolete in the future? We're going to take a stab at it.
Yeah, we're going to try to predict. We're going to look at the future and not wear shades.
Stay tuned.
Don't worry about it. We'll be right back.
Have you ever considered working with an image consultant or stylist, but were worried about what the experience would be like? If that sounds like you, then Michael Bruce Image Consulting is here to help. They've worked with thousands of people, and many of those individuals have shared their experiences by way of style stories. Go to michaelbruceimageconsulting.com/style stories and check out what their delighted clients have to say about their experiences.
And we're back right here on Don't Ask Me to Talk. I'm Eric Ryder.
I'm Stacey Heller.
Yeah, it's time for our top topic of the day, which last week what we chose, or what the Wheel of Topics chose, was things that'll be obsolete in 20 years. And as we all know, you're the one that puts these topics on our Wheel of Topics.
Yes, I do.
So what was the impetus behind this discussion today?
It was a conversation that I had with a cashier and my daughter being in New York, and I was feeling very old when I said, "Oh shoot, I left my wallet or whatever," and my daughter's like, "Just use your phone, use your Apple Pay," and I was like, "Say what now?" And really didn't know how. I know that it's there. I just never used it. And wasn't used to the idea of just calling it up on my phone and that's that.
Yeah.
And so it inspired this conversation that my daughter and I were having where we were like, is there going to be even money in the future? And
yes, yeah, there will be money.
Well, but like paper and
paper
coins.
Money. Yes, yeah.
And, and potentially even credit cards and things like that. And so we were having a conversation about that, and it made me think about other things that we just assume are always going to be around, but will they be, or will they be obsolete?
Well, I love how they, with Apple Pay, have solved the problem that didn't exist, and then they're marketing it in the commercials like, "Oh, this saved you so much time. It's such hassle of pulling out a credit card and putting it next to a machine. You're pulling out your phone and putting it next to a machine. You're not saving any time. If anything, you're taking more time because you got to double click on it, or you got to use the Face ID and then double click on it to approve it.
Right.
It really isn't much help unless you're using it when you're paying online for something and you're able to just use that rather than filling in your details, which is still annoying.
Totally. And it helps that time that I didn't happen to have the wallet.
Absolutely,
and I wanted to be able to pay for what we were doing.
But people still need their wallet because they have to have their ID with them. So if we could get our IDs on our phones.
Well, so our ID is going to become
handy,
is a paper ID.
But it's so hard to authenticate and have it not be fake.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, did you get a fake ID when you were
a
kid?
Never
I didn't
did.
either. Yeah, but apparently
I didn't want to drink. That was the thing.
Oh, that's right. We've talked about that.
I was happy to not have.
I just was like, whatever.
If anything, I would have been like, can I vote with this thing? It's like, oh no, that's a felony.
You're that guy.
Never. No, not gonna do it.
But I don't know. There's an awful lot of kids that are sending off to parts unknown and getting a fake ID.
Yeah. Like McLovin.
Right. Exactly. Who I can't remember how old he was in his fake ID, but it's kind of funny. But will it just be a chip that you have or something that you have on your phone that you're just using your thumbprint?
Yeah, that's one way it could be, if you could have an individual microchip or something that you could install on your phone, and then it would show your authentic ID on that. Yeah, I like that idea.
You never know, right?
Yeah.
Based on your fingerprint type thing, because you can do the fingerprint thing. So I was thinking about the whole paper money that came up and coins, the concept of an ID. I was thinking about keys. Like, we already see that new cars don't have a key per se.
Yeah.
And also a lot of people, a fob.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that do keyless entry into their homes and apartments and things like that. And so I think about all those keys that are in my junk drawer at home. And I'm like, are they going to be around anymore?
Yeah. You know what I'd love is if our key fobs, you could just boop, boop, your house like you boop boop your car. You know what I mean? Like,
boop boop is the sound too.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like you could just unlock it when you come in. Like we're way overdue on having like the Star Trek or Star Wars doors that just automatically open up for us in our houses.
Right? And pocket doors. Oh, yeah. It would save so much room in houses.
It would be so nice. You walk up, it recognizes you, and you are able to go in and put your groceries down without having fumble for your keys or put your groceries down. That would be wonderful.
They need, you know how there's the clapper for lights on and off?
Yeah.
They need the boop boop. We should come up with something for that for your house.
Boop on, boop off. The booper.
Exactly. So you just walk up and it recognizes your voice.
Yeah.
And you just go boop boop.
I feel like we're getting closer to that. You know, like you said, there is a lot of keyless entry and power locks now, but it would be really cool. And we don't see them marketed of a door that would just open up like a Star Wars style door. If they could make it look nice too, also.
Naturally, it's not just function; it's also form.
It may be futuristic, but it needs to tie in with my 120-year-old house.
I'd like something in a nice farm door.
That's right. I need a Victorian automatic Star Wars door.
Naturally.
Yes.
We talked about at the top of the show, we were talking about words. And you had talked about how your sister's a bastard. Yep, I just circled back with that. And, you know,
in the very literal sense,
not in the
slang, insulting sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the idea of, you know, it feels like the original meanings of words are obsolete. Like,
sometimes.
Think about the word gay. Gay used to mean happy.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And it was like...
And that has evolved.
Yep. And it feels like the original meaning of that word has become obsolete.
Yes.
And so many other things like that. And so I do feel like there are some words that in a way have become obsolete.
Yeah. Like the R word, for instance.
Yep.
It's
100%.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of an interesting thing because people
and that's what I hate is when like the negativity gets layered onto something that's so clinical. Like the R word, for instance, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to offend people.
Of
but
course.
When I was growing up, that was not just acceptable, but the way to say it so you weren't
offending anyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And so I hate the fact that now that is offensive because then it like suddenly retroactively makes all your interactions like offensive.
Especially if you're of a certain age.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I have a daughter who teaches special ed.
Yes.
So as a sped teacher, you know, it's like you don't say that. And, you know, it's so funny. Growing up, I was more apt to refer to my brother as that than I was a person with special needs.
Right.
I mean...
And that's the problem. That's how it gets to that. But I feel like there's the concept of we're taking this back. And sometimes they're taking it back on a thing that's always been a negative slur.
Right.
You know? And I think, well, that doesn't really work. You can't really take that back when it's always been that. But when it's something that was... you know, medical or clinical or scientific, that should be taken back.
Right. Absolutely.
Anyway, that's my $1.50 on that.
Well, do you have paper money?
but that, I mean, yeah, we never know, I guess, what things are going to be obsolete. But it is interesting to look back on like technology. Like I think we would have thought like, okay, well, DVDs, like these are the latest and the greatest.
Cutting
There's
edge.
no way, you know, but now like everything is streaming and so DVDs, but I think they're also like among collectors still really prized. And there's still lots of stuff that's not available to stream. So there's always that, like same thing with vinyl records.
I was just going to say
you know?
vinyl.
It's like, oh, that was obsolete when I was a kid, but they never stopped making them.
Right.
And now that's like the biggest selling thing in, you know, music owning music.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, think about, tapes,
Right.
both videotapes and, who has any more a machine that you can play, a Betamax or whatever on.
Right.
Who, trying to find a boombox that you can play a tape, things like that you never thought. You thought it was cutting edge and that, this isn't going anywhere. This is
Right.
crazy.
So I think we got to just take some wild stabs in the dark.
Well, I started.
Yeah. Money.
Money,
IDs.
keys, IDs. What are some other things?
I think all of those things are going to exist in one form or another, but I think they're all going to evolve.
So they're not really obsolete. They've just evolved.
Yeah. Yeah, because a fob is still a key. It's just wireless, right?
All right. Okay. All right, Mr. Technicality.
Maybe it should have been what things are going to evolve to different things in 20
All right.
years.
Well, do you have any ideas of things that you think will be obsolete? Can you think of anything?
Well, watching the social network, it occurs to me that Facebook could very well be obsolete any day.
Yeah.
I mean, MySpace, when I first started on social media, was the huge thing. Everybody was on MySpace. Facebook came along, made it worse, but they had one innovation, which was an algorithm that put everybody's feed together in a stream.
Right.
That one tiny innovation made them the biggest player. But anybody that could come along and copy that innovation and not be so like cramming AI and garbage posts from people that you don't want to see
and random
in that
bots
feed.
and
Yeah,
whatever.
and like scam ads. Anybody that did that could potentially be the new Facebook. So at any point, of course, right now Zuckerberg just buys up any like serious competition.
Right.
But if they crack down on that, like there's constantly hearings for, then that Facebook could go, the way of the dodo. Like Twitter has essentially, it used to be a big thing. It used to be the biggest thing that would be the alternative to Facebook. But now it's a flaming pile of poopy. And I think within 10 years, it's just going to be gone. I mean, it's going to be like a legacy site along the lines of a MySpace or a Friendster.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost, I guess this is sort of a late awakening that when we say obsolete, we mean extinct. So like the dodo. So what are the items that, we think are going to be extinct, essentially, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, there's so many different, like, my head is just pinging around with a whole bunch of things. I'm like, democracy.
I think somebody's going to carry the torch, even if we're not.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm being silly, obviously. But there are just things in our everyday that, I'm sure are going to become obsolete. And it's such a subtle evolution, to your point, that you don't even notice it. And, you think about how there used to be a garage door clicker that you had to carry in your car. And now there's the technology
I still have that.
Well, but there are some cars that you can program that talk to your garage door. And, and then to your point about like the house thing, there's not the doors that open automatically, but now you can turn on your heat and turn on your music from a distance. I mean, you're right. It's a question of evolving versus extinction.
Right. Yeah.
Deep thoughts.
That will continue to evolve. I think we have to put a pin on this just because of time. But it's so difficult to know.
Do you think Don't Ask Me to Talk will be obsolete in 20 years?
Yeah. Podcasts probably going to be gone. But so savor them while you can, folks.
There you go.
Yep.
All right.
Now we got to find out from the Wheel of Topics, which will outlive us all.
Okay. Yes, that will stay on in perpetuity.
What we're talking about next week.
What's it going to be?
Love language.
Oh, okay. We're going to talk about...
I feel like we've talked about this before.
Did we?
Yeah, I feel like we did. Like yours is gifts.
No, it's not.
What?
No.
I think it was gifts.
And words of affirmation.
Okay. But how you communicate with love language, it was gifts.
All right.
I'm going to look this up because I swear to goodness.
All right. Well, so pick another topic then.
Okay.
But I want you to look it up.
Okay, I'll look it up.
I mean, I feel like that doesn't really change, so it makes sense that we wouldn't do it again.
Pizza toppings.
All right, that's easy.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about pizza toppings next week. And
will
if
pizza be obsolete?
No.
Never.
Never. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you.
Thanks for listening. Have a great week, everybody.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.